welcome to this training webinar number 7. And this webinar or web class is based around business development, and I guess what you would call our second stage of business development, which is all about automating your marketing processes. So far what we've learned and what we've been over is the 5 steps to booking revenue, which include finding events, which are our new clients and which generate our new clients, selecting and recruiting hotels, which we've covered, and we know we need to match those to the events and find the most suitable hotels so it keeps it relevant. It's better for booking. We then create the PBA or the private booking area around our hotels and around our event, so it's very relevant and it looks very branded around that. The descriptions are great, and the descriptions are all relevant to the event that's going to be turning up and reading those descriptions of the hotels. So we've created that relevance, the added extras, the summaries, the sections, the articles and guides, or whatever you wanted to add on to that. Any promotional things that the hotel's giving as well. We've then linked it to the PBA, to the event's own website, and we're now promoting it with the help of the event organizer and their audience, and we're doing it through social media as well. Last week, in the first stages of business development, we also discussed and just touched on a few other things that we could potentially do in addition to that, which are things like Facebook retargeting and going on and expanding our social media marketing, and these sorts of things which are very relevant, can really boost bookings, are not actually essential, but can really help you grow your business. It really depends how active and into this you want to get. So, if you're just new to this, then what you need to do is start at the start, on episodes 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're jumping in here, some of the marketing that we're discussing now is more advanced than the basics. And this is where it starts to get really interesting, where you've got that foundation in place, but we're now starting to really pull it apart and work on ways that we can develop business further. This is all about business development. This is not your initial 5 steps to just getting going. We've already covered that. We're now into episode 7. So we're starting to look at ways that we can expand on that. In addition to this, in episode 8, we do the graduation, which is summarizing what we've done, looking at some of the successes, but also planning for the future. And part of planning for the future is also looking at what we're going to keep educating you with in the future. So every month, we will have more webinars every couple of weeks as well. We will have webinars on specific topics, and there might be other things we interject with, as well as your one-to-one training, which can continue beyond this depending on what you're working on. It becomes more focused. So these are the things that are coming up. So, we can expand on all these certain things in far more detail and really help you, really boost your businesses and make them flow in the right area and maximize every opportunity. And sometimes these things take less effort to actually do because of the processes that you put in place. And this is what this webinar is actually about. It's about starting to look at how technology can further automate your business. So last week we touched on using a CRM. This week, what we're going to do is actually show you how to implement that. I want to show you how easy it is to actually set up your campaign. Like any technology, like CRM, you have to get to know how to use it. But once you know how to use it, we're talking minutes for you to create a campaign. Obviously, you can spend as much time on selecting the right images and doing all those things that you want to do. That's absolutely fine. But the mechanism, the better you get, the faster you become. But that's going to save you so much time. And it means that your marketing is just going to work for you in the background automatically. So you save lots of time. You start to get inquiries coming to you rather than you having to go and find the people interested in working with you. So your whole business shifts in a more automated fashion because you're starting to find the right people, you're automating your marketing, and you've created this sales funnel that we touched on last week. So when we talk about a sales funnel, we're talking about the way that we generate lots of leads. What is a lead for us? A lead is an event organizer. Name and telephone number, email address, that's a lead. If you go into Google and you search conferences, tournaments, sports, whatever it is that you want to do, and you find the organizer, you then want to catch their information. That's a lead. You want to put it into your funnel. Okay, now your funnel at the moment is likely to be a spreadsheet. Okay, spreadsheets in this day and age in 2019 are pretty single dimensional. Back 15 years ago, a spreadsheet was awesome. It was like unbelievable, you know, that we could do this and we could total a column up and not have to add it up with a calculator, all those little things, and set these formulas. An amazing invention. Microsoft, you know, created the Excel spreadsheet. It was amazing. We've started you using that because in its simplest form, that is what a database actually is. But the more creative you get, the more advanced, the more you want to save your own time and your money and your energy and maximize your results, you start to look at how technology can do that. So if you look at everything like a funnel, you want to funnel all these leads, you want to turn those leads into a prospect. Okay, what's a prospect? A prospect is a warmer lead. Okay, so a lead is just, that's the person who's running that event. Boom, they go in as a lead into your funnel. Then we need to work them. Okay, we need to do some work on them to turn them into a prospect. Now, what's another way of working on them? Picking up the phone and calling them. Hi, how you going? It's Harrison from Hotels TV. You got this wonderful event going on at the moment, but I could see you don't have a booking partner, or you don't have a booking system, or you're not being offered any preferred rates from any local hotels. I can help you. I've got 3 hotels that would love to give your event some exclusive rates just for the attendees. How does that sound? Great. All right. I'll send you over some information. I'll send you over an agreement. And then as soon as you sign that and send it back, it costs you nothing. We can get to work, and actually we can get these hotels connected to you using one of our booking systems that links to your website. How does that sound? Great. Excellent. Really good. And we'll need some help on Facebook and other forms of marketing. Okay, excellent. Now, what I've done is demonstrate very briefly how to turn a lead into a prospect, okay? And I just also turn them into a customer right then, okay, as well, because I closed them on the call and I said, okay, shall we get you started? Okay. If they hadn't said yes, they would still be a prospect. If they came back and said, oh, well, can you just send me some information? I'd like to think about it. I'd like to talk to someone about it. Then they're a prospect. Okay, so a lead is cold, a prospect is warmer, customer's red hot, and they've gone ahead. They're in your database. They're in your funnel. They're in your database. And then what comes out the bottom of that are bookings. Bookings because the customer has helped you do that. So this is a very, hopefully, logical way of you starting to think about your marketing and about your sales funnel and the way you address every single contact that you come into contact with. You've got to be thinking now, every single one of these people that I talk to, everyone, create anywhere near any bookings, any companies, anything like that is a lead to me. I'm going to put them into the funnel. Now, you can either, as I said before, you can either put them on a spreadsheet and then you create a lot more manual work for yourself. This is going to cost you more time. Okay, you need to realize that. Spreadsheets are free. Well, actually, you even pay for Office and Word, so technically they're not free, but very low cost. But it takes you time. So now you have to weigh up, where is my time better spent? So what happens is the leads go into the system, and I'll summarize this for you. Okay, your leads go into the system. You then create a marketing campaign using your CRM, your customer relationship management system. You create the campaign in advance, planning the stages of what you feel is your funnel to get these people into customers and then produce the bookings. You plan it, okay? And I'm going to show you the way that we can just quickly plan one so you get the idea. Now, you can change it, you can adapt it, you can be creative, and your funnel can go all sorts of different ways, but as long as it gets into turning this into a customer and turning it into a booking, that's what we want to achieve. And I'm just going to show you a very easy step. This is the way I think you should do it, because it's simple, and the more simple things are, the better. Once you're rocking and rolling with this, and this is pumping out customers and they're converting, then maybe you can start a second funnel that's a little bit more creative, okay, over the top. But let's get one funnel going. Okay, so to automate your marketing, first of all, you have to decide who you're going to market to. Okay, is it customers who are the event organizers and their attendees, or is it the hotels, the sales managers and reservations team? Remember, although you're not actually necessarily selling anything to the hotels, creating a funnel for them is a great way to warm them up. So by the time you do get your events in, these hotels are hot for your business, which means they're going to be fighting over each other to be one of the 5 or 6 hotels. That gives you leverage. That gives you some form of competitiveness, which is going to give you better rates. If you get better rates, and you get better added value because you've created this competitive tension, guess what? You're going to be able to blow the doors off the event. They're going to absolutely love you, and their attendees are going to book. So it works back in your favor by just simply warming up these 2 markets, getting them hot for what you're doing. It's going to flow back towards you and pump out the bookings. Okay, it's building desire, you know, and it's building demand for what you've got. It's creating urgency. It's creating exclusiveness that you can do by leveraging the pieces of the puzzle. Okay, so using technology to automate your management, customer contacts, first of all, and the records need to go into the system. You then need to automate your marketing. You then need to lead them into some sort of appointment calendar or lead them to an email. There's got to be something you want out of this interaction. We don't have an online system that just says click here and create. There's something we may actually do in the future, but normally we have to talk to the event organizers. So your lead, it comes in the form of a telephone call or an email to you or something that shows that they're interested in your product. That's part of your funnel. I'm going to show you very simply how to attach an appointment calendar, which means that you can look at tomorrow and the next day and see how many appointments you have to speak to events. So you've got reversed marketing here. It's not cold calling, it's warm calling. Okay, so rather than you having to call out to people, all of a sudden you've gathered all this information, you've filtered it through your funnel, and now you've got appointments waiting for you at the end of your telephone. You know, going, I'd like to find out more information. So that's a great opportunity. Pick up the phone, tell them what you do, send them an agreement, and get to work. Okay, you do this properly, it'll be your problem will be you'll have too many events to have to start to manage. Okay, so, but you've got to funnel things in. You've got to feed the information in, and you've got to research that well. That's the other thing we've taught you through the other volumes. Do your research really well. And then your funnel is so much more valuable. It's full of amazing. Don't just put everything in there. You're just wasting. It's, sometimes you have to pay per lead you send out. As I said, it could be $1 or $2 or $3 per 1,000 that you send out, depending on what system you use as an email, because they have to pay for the emails to get sent out. But so the better quality, then you can work your numbers more effectively. Set reminders and alerts, obviously, within your CRM, and service your customers. You know, when you do get an event and you want to record the information, a CRM is a great place for you simply to record those conversations so you never lose them. You don't have to go and find pieces of paper You're not digging out old Excel spreadsheets. They're actually in your CRM, and you can access that on your smartphone or on your desktop as well. So first step, enter the contact details. Okay, then you need to plan your campaign. What do you want to say to these people? And how long do you want the campaign to run for? Okay, so firstly, what do you want to say? The first thing would be, hey, this is who we are and this is what we do. Then you might have another campaign that you send out a week after that one that says, hey, we sent you out this information. Did you get it okay? Because we'd really love to have a chat with you to see how it can fit. Then the third one might be something like, did you know, like some stats that we used the other day, did you know 50% of attendees who book hotels book through the event organizer? And did you know you can actually earn a commission by using this free booking system? And then another campaign goes out, hey, did you get that email campaign? So some of it might be repeating each other, but it's slowly conditioning the organizer to, number one, know you exist. Remember, the old adage with marketing is that people need to see something, or advertising. People need to see it 4 or 5 times before they start to trust it. So this is why you set a campaign up and let it run. Some of these people might come back to you straight away because they actually need your service. They've been looking for a booking opportunity. They've been looking for a platform. So great, this is just, someone's just come to me straight away. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to make an appointment. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. I need to get in contact with these people and take the conversation a bit further. Then you set the campaign up. Okay, and you go into the CRM, and we're going to do that now. Then you execute that. Executing simply means pressing a button and going, great, it's started now. And that's it. That's all you have to do. You can get on with the rest of your business now and service the clients you have once you execute that. That's running in the background. That's how we automate our marketing. But you've then got to analyze it. You can't automate your analysis. You have to work out what's working and what's not. And there's 2 ways of doing that. One's Google, well, actually there's 3. Google Analytics is a great way to do it. We've discussed that. A CRM is really, really good because you can actually pull statistics out, and depending on your CRM, as I'll show you, you can actually see the open rates of the email. So when it comes into their inbox, you can see that people have read it, and you can see that people have actually clicked on something as well. So you can start to actually analyze how successful that campaign is. And if you're drawing them back onto a particular page like your PBA, you can start to measure the click-through rates on there as well, which is really useful. What's the third way? Okay, what's the third way to analyze? Is the results way. What are the results? Well, it depends what you're looking to achieve. How many bookings did I get? How many meetings? How many appointments did I get? How many new clients did I get? You know, you can run all these stats yourself just to kind of measure how successful that campaign was. And if it wasn't very successful, what do you need to do to change it, to make it more successful? Sometimes these things don't just happen the first time you do them. You have to learn. You know, you've heard this concept probably now called machine learning. You know, machine learning is using data and systems now. Whenever we go onto Facebook, we get a lot of machine learning because they're learning about the things that we're clicking on. They're starting to understand what we like and what we don't like. And this system is learning our habits over a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year. It takes a little bit of time. So that's a computer doing it. We're not doing it via computer when we do the analysis, although, you're getting the information through Google, but you're then having to make your own decisions. Okay, we haven't got the algorithm that makes that decision for you. Otherwise, by the time we end up creating that, we might not need you. I'm just kidding. Okay, we still need you. But that's where it's going. So, you know, look at your stats, find out what's working and what doesn't. Do more of what works and do less of what's not working. Eliminate that. So these are things that don't take a lot of time, but will save you hours and hours so that your marketing, your automation is so succinct and so conclusive that you know what your formula is that's going to breed you X amount of clients, and all you do is have to fill this funnel. That's all you have to do. And then what do you have to do? Follow up. Okay. sometimes these people don't just come back to you. You need to pick up the phone or follow up with another email perhaps, but pick up the phone more importantly and just talk to these people. Say, hey, I sent you an email campaign. Did you receive it? What's another reason why we have to do that? Junk mail, spam folders. All right. You have to check, because what if they're not getting the first campaign? Then they're certainly not going to get the second campaign or the third campaign. So sometimes you have to give them a little bit of a nudge to say, please just check your spam folder in case it's gone in there, and mark it as not spam, because then you know the second, third, and fourth emails on this automated campaign are going to reach its target. Okay. So, and there are ways you can do that. When you send a campaign out, then go into your system and look at the open rates. If these people haven't opened, it means the emails come in to their inbox and they've looked at it. It doesn't mean they've done anything else but look at it. Okay. If they've looked at it, they're getting it. Okay. But if they're not opened, they're not getting it. So why aren't they getting it? It will be because of the spam folders and the filter settings. And if they've got Yahoo, or if they're a company, a lot of companies filter junk mail. All right. So you have to get that initial contact, and you'll get that because these people are interested in finding a booking solution, especially one that's free of charge. And especially if there are hotels that want to give their attendees exclusive rates. That is a great hook for these people. All right, as well. So when you go into your CRM, as I said, this is the page and the timeline. This is on Agile CRM, but it'll be on whatever CRM you choose to use. The timeline will show you that the email has been sent and when it was sent, what the name of that email is. It'll also show you that the email was opened. All right, so you know they've looked at it. So that gives you those sorts of, there's all sorts of other web stats as well. You can put cookies on different websites and track them. I mean, these are for episodes later on, but you can track these to the nth degree. So once you've got someone inside your CRM, you can actually track them anywhere else, which is fantastic for knowing their habits and what they're doing and what they're clicking on and what they're not. And then you can tie it to accounts such as Facebook ads. So remember, I'm talking about spending $5 or $10 a day. That's it on Facebook. But if we know Rajesh Marken is attending an event, all right, and we go and set up a campaign on Facebook from this information, we can then put what's called a pixel on this and track them. But what it means is that when they go onto Facebook next time, if Rajesh is just looking for anything on Facebook, up pops an ad which says, Rajesh, we know that you're attending this event, but you haven't booked your accommodation yet. Okay, we've got special rates we've organized just for you. Click the link and you can just go and make a booking. It's through the event organizer. All right, so how powerful is that? You can track Rajesh wherever you go. Now remember, on Facebook, if you've never experienced it, those ads that keep popping up every time you go onto Facebook, they keep popping up. All right, it's not a coincidence. It's not magic. Someone is retargeting you, and that's why cookies are on websites. They're trying to feed you relevant information. Okay, you could change it on Facebook, but then you'll just get served any ad. So it's not that you won't get served ad, because Facebook is free. So you're going to be served ads. If you don't get targeted ads, you get untargeted ads, and they're irrelevant and really annoying. So you have to make a decision on Facebook. Do I want targeted ads, or just do I want rubbish ads? And most people end up going, well, if I'm going to get ads anyway, I might as well just get targeted ads. So they opt in for the targeted stuff. So it's just so powerful and so simple once you get your automated funnel actually moving. But we're not going to go into the Facebook stuff. That's for later on. But just to show you how it all connects up, it's nerdy fascinating. Okay, because it will actually convert into bookings, which converts into money, the better you are at this. Do you need to do all this? No. People will still just click on the link from the event organizer off their website. They'll come through onto your booking system, those 5 first steps, and they will make a booking. But some people wander, okay? And if you looked at that email campaign, the news information, Skift, it was that I'd sent out, that article, and if you haven't got it, please come back and request it. Skift said 50% of the people that are booking a hotel will book it through the event organizer. The other 50% that don't will pay more. Okay, they will pay too much. And had they had the knowledge of what you were doing, more of that 50% would have booked with you. So the harder you work at this, or the more things you put in place to capture that, the more of that lost 50% you're going to capture, and that's only going to make you more money, even on a more automated basis. Okay, so we'll delve into that a bit later. But that's the beauty of the CRM. That on the screen is gold. You can actually look at the campaigns you've already sent these people. You know what they've received as well. Have a look at the tags on the left-hand side. Each one of those tags is a different webinar or a different campaign or a different email. So you can look at that client and go, okay, they received that, and that, but I know they haven't received this campaign. So I can actually start a fresh campaign to these people to hit them in another way, because I did a bit of research and I worked out that actually this would be more relevant to that market. So you can put them into silos, they used to call it. They might still call it in web development terms, where you just group things together. So you can group types of things. You might decide, it's up to you, you might decide to group them together in category. Like, for example, sectors, industries. One could be banking, one could be pharmaceuticals, medical, one could be technology, one could be weddings, sports. You can group your markets together using these CRMs, and then you create different campaigns to each market, because it's all about relevance at the end of the day. And just so you understand, and not to get too technical, but just so you understand how important relevance is, if you were doing Facebook marketing, Facebook have put together what's called a relevance score. They actually score your relevance, and the more relevant your ad is, and Google do something similar, but the point is that the more relevant your ad is, the less they encourage you, so that it's good content. People want good content, like Google and Facebook and Instagram. They want good content. So the higher the relevance score, the lower the fee you pay per lead. Okay, it brings your cost down to encourage more relevance. So that principle should be applied also to everything that you do with your marketing. Is if you keep it relevant, more people like it, more people are going to convert, and you're going to make more money and have to do less work for it. If you don't, that's where your payoff is. Your reward for relevance is in the fact that it costs you less and you earn more. So keep it relevant is my point. Okay, and once again, analyze and get the results. And we've been through that with Google Analytics before, and we can delve into that in more detail. But that tells you everything, and your bounce rates and all the things that we've kind of discussed before. So this is all about automating your sales funnel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you offline from this presentation, and then we're going to jump straight onto the internet. And I'm going to do that through my desktop sharing. So hopefully this connects pretty straightforward. So just bear with me a few minutes. So hopefully you're starting to really build the picture now about, about this type of funneling. Knowing what you want to achieve is really important as well. Knowing why, like when you pick up the phone and you talk to that event organizer, what do you want? Do you just want a telephone number and an email address, or do you actually want to do business? Or you've got to know what you want to achieve, but it's no different with your funnel. So I don't want you to get confused with your funnel. You could just simply write it down on a piece of paper. Step one, I'd like to introduce myself to that person. Step two is after I've introduced them, I want to tell them a little bit about what we do. Step three, I'm also going to tell them about some of the clients I've worked with. Step 4, I'm going to tell them about, how they can share in some of that as well. So there we go. So there's step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4 is sharing, maybe sharing dollars. Existing clients is step number 3. What we do is step number 2, and intro was step number 1. That is a 4-step campaign right there, then and there. That's what we've just gone and done. We've just set up a 4-step campaign. Okay, so just bear with me 2 seconds while this opens up and we can start to share that information. And what I'm going to do is I'm then going to take you onto my computer screen. Okay, let's have a look at this. As you can see, I'm doing this live. So if you weren't sure before, you certainly know now. Okay, it's starting to, okay, let's do the full screen. That's going to be a lot easier for us. Okay, so right now, coming onto the screen is you're going to see, I might still be there, but you should be seeing what is called Agile. Okay, now I'm going to just log out of this so you can see where I'm at. So Agile CRM. So I'm going to take you in from a login position, and we're going to whiz this together really probably over the next 20-25 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. So I just want you to see how straightforward these systems are and how quick they are. And remember, the campaign that we connect here will feed you for the next 4 weeks. You know, it's not something you can delve in, you can adjust and tweak. But when we say automate your marketing, we really mean automate your marketing. You put a little bit of time in, perfect it. Yeah, like anything, when you first start, the time you end up spending is actually going to end up being your learning. Once you have the learning, then you spend far less time. So this is your marketing dashboard, and you can actually view then what emails you've sent or how many emails you've sent, how many your system skipped, how many have been opened, so they've arrived on the desktop, and how many people have clicked, okay, that. So you can really see some amazing information to see how powerful that actually is. So what we're going to do is go into an area here called campaigns. Campaigns are where these aren't pre-existing. You can simply add a new campaign by just clicking, and you get all sorts of newsletters, and all this stuff is already done for you, to be honest. Templates, autoresponders, customs, social campaigns, lead scoring, okay, all these sorts of things are very, very easy and done for you. Okay, so we're going to go into a campaign that I've already named here called Event Organizer Campaign. And I've set this up just for this example. Okay, there it is there. We're going to open it. I've named this Event Organizer Campaign 1. And when we go in there, you can see that I've actually set up 3 campaigns. So that's all I'm going to do at the moment, and I'm going to explain what these do. And the way that we do this is very simple. The first lot here is where we start, okay? And this campaign, which I'm going to get my marker, a good old marker. Okay, so if we look at this one, this is our first campaign. Okay, this is going to be the first email that goes out. And we can actually click on this in a minute, and we'll open this one up. If we wanted to get another one, we would just go across the left-hand side here and drag another one in, and then connect the red to the green to the red. That makes it next. But what we've done, just to give you an overview, We said, okay, we're gonna tailor this campaign, but right now that's not important. What I'm going to do is plan first. Okay, once I've set that first email campaign up, I'm going to send a second email campaign in a week. Okay, but I'm going to put this little weight hourglass in the middle, if you can see here. Now, what that weight does, it weights it. What's the gap between campaign number 1 and campaign number 2? Okay, what is it? 2 days, 1 day, 4 hours, 7 days, whatever it is. I'm going to schedule that. So all I've done is drag that in, and now I've connected the green arrow to the red, and then so on. And then I've waited for 2 days, and after 2 days, it sends that next campaign out. And then I've put another one down there. So after 7 days, it's going to send another one out. And then I can just keep dragging them in. So my campaign marketing is automated. And now what my planning is more around strategy to say, okay, now that I've got the framework up, I know that I've got a campaign I can tailor here. Okay. Let me just see if I can just get rid of that. Okay, get rid of that. And I'm going to change the color here, probably to blue. Okay, so now what I do is I actually click on this right here. Okay, it gives me the option to go inside this email campaign, and I can tailor it exactly what I want, how I want to do. Now, the other thing that I'm going to show you is I've named the event Email Organizer Campaign 1. And when I save it over here, it actually allows me to create a tag. Okay, now a tag is the name of this campaign. And I'll show you how it works afterwards. But what that means is that I can then go back to the clients that I'm interested in, and I can drag the tag or the name of the campaign. I drag the tag onto that customer's profile, and it automates the campaign. That's how brilliant these systems are. That's all you needed to do. So as I said before, I've created the customer entry into the CRM. I've then gone and created a campaign. I might have tagged the client something to do with sports tournaments as well. So I can then go into a customer search, which we'll do, and go, I only want to send this campaign to all the people that are in sports tournaments. And then I'm going to drag the tag that says Event Organizer Campaign 1, and bang, the first email goes out. 7 days after, I don't even have to touch it now. 7 days after, the next campaign goes out. Then 7 days after that, the next campaign goes out. Now, I'm not going to go into that now for you, but I can then interrupt those campaigns. So I could put, if you look onto this here, it says clicked. Okay, so I'm going to bring out clicked. Now, clicked gives me the option, okay, is it wait time? Yes or no? So I need to wait. Whoops, did I bring the right down? Clicked. I wanted clicked. Yes, it is. Okay. Open. Sorry, it's not clicked, it's open. But what clicked means is that I can, if they've clicked on that email, I can create new campaigns just for the people that have clicked. So the people that haven't clicked stay in this funnel, okay, and it's a funnel. And the people who have clicked can go somewhere else, okay? I can also create that for people that open the campaign, okay? So if they open the campaign, what do I want this to do? If they visit a particular URL, so let's say they went to, hotels.tv in the last 7 days, okay, or in the last 3 days or 4 days, I can create a campaign that is tailored purely around which website they went and visited, and then they would receive a different email campaign, which could be personalized to say, hey, We know you've seen the website, that's great, but have you seen what a PBA looks like? Here's an example. So this kind of then starts to build your story or your narrative. And now we're going to go in and check the narrative of what we're trying to say. What is our strategy? What do we want to achieve, basically? So what we're going to go and do is now click on this campaign. So up it pops. This is the first email campaign. So it's from, who's it from? So it's from you, or it's from Hotels TV Support. Who do you want it to be named from when the email sits in that inbox? Because a lot of people read the from before they read anything else. Okay. And once you've set up your UR or your contact owner and everything, some of this is automated anyway. You don't have to, unless you want to CC someone in, you don't have to do that. Now the subject is really important, so what I've put in here, something that grabs their attention. That's what it is. Have you considered adding hotel bookings to your next event? ? Okay, so when it drops into their inbox, it's a question mark. And there's a reply address. So that could be yours, it could be my address, it could be info at, whatever that is. Now, the second tab is setting up a text message. Okay. That's only for people that don't have their HTML. The difference, if you don't know, between text and HTML is when your emails come in, they got nice pictures and images, things that attract you to them. That's HTML. If it's text, then it's just writing with nothing else on it. Okay, and that's not so attractive, but then sometimes people have an HTML filter, which will filter out anything because it sees that as junk mail, whereas it only allows the text messaging in. So it can be a sneaky way, if you do both, to make sure your message still appears, and then it may give people the option to switch their images on for specific emails that they're interested to receive. All right, more of that later, but that's how some of these emailing campaigns work to get the message through. Now, when you click on HTML, you've got all this language that you'd have to be a web designer to understand. Don't worry about that. You simply click on the template and it converts it all into something that is so easy for you to do and manage. You do not need to be a web developer to actually set up this campaign. So I've gone ahead now and added some of these things in as a template. And how do you do that? Well, it's pretty simple. There's an image file here. We could go and change that image at the top, so you could store something on your database. So let's say I wanted to change the logo. Okay, so I would click on the image there and I'd go into a file, my own files, which are normally logos or something like that. And then I would look down in my logos and I've normally got a Hotels TV logo of some description, which we can have a look at. So let's say I wanted to do something pretty simple, just Hotels TV. So as you can see on the screen, I've got over here, I've actually got home, destinations, about us. It kind of is to tempt people to click it, but they're not going to go anywhere necessarily. So what I want to do is I want a simpler one. I'm just going to upload that directly into the image manager, and that's going to size it up for me. Okay, it needs to be a JPEG or something. I've messed that one up a little bit. Let's have a look. Okay, general JPEG. So I just want this one. What's this? This one. This is the one. Okay, so that's a better image. I pull that in. I don't want to limit the dimensions, so I'm just going to get rid of that. And I'm going to then add it. Okay, and there it is. Massive, but my system simply allows me to drag it to the size that I want, and then I could center it. Okay, a bit like using Word or anything like that, it allows you to do that. So now I've just changed that. And then I could type whatever text I want over the top. first name, it's going to email everyone in your database. And by simply adding contact fields, you can add those contact fields in. It puts it inside brackets and it sucks the name out of the database. So that way it can address it formally or less formally and say, hey, John, you know, we saw you had a great event coming up. Looks amazing. What about adding a hotel booking platform to your next event website, offering your attendees the lowest rates and added value directly from hotels? We can help you do this and provide the technology and hotels. Your attendees will love you doing this, love you for doing this. And then you put a nice image there. You say, I'm your local agent, contact me and let's get started. Click this link. Okay, now what you can do there, and I'm going to go back out on this. I've got it. Let me just see. Okay, no, I don't. That's fine. Okay, now what happens is I'm just going to jump out of this for a second. I'm going to save it. So you need to make sure you save your work. And then I'm going to go into my calendar because these CRMs actually have a calendar which shows you all the different appointments you've got coming up and the different things you've got to do. And you can set lots of different calendars. And you will see if people make an appointment with you directly through your online schedule, it gives you your own URL. And I'll show you how you use that in a minute. But that's mine. You've all used this URL to actually make appointments with me. And it sets it up in that calendar. So every day I just look into the calendar and I can see I've got an appointment with someone. I can organize the times I'm available. And if someone's already booked that slot, it says not available. So it organizes my day. So I can then go into here and say, okay, I go back to my campaign. I click on my campaign that I just set up, that we just looked at. It goes in and shows me my flow, the flow chart of that campaign. I then click back into that campaign that I want to make some amendments to. I click on HTML. I click back on the campaign that we just closed out with my link. And now I can say, I'm your local agent. Click this link to book a time to discuss your event, hotel bookings. Okay, so click this link, I highlight, I go up to the connector and I can paste in my calendar link, click this link and it's done. That's it. Or you can email or you can whatever. So that campaign is now done. It's got an unsubscribe link automatically on the bottom because you need to do that these days. People have to have the rights to come out of that campaign, but that's basically it. So that's an email campaign, and I'm going to save that, and I'm going to send a test email of that before I do anything. Now I have a test email campaign. I'm going to test it, and it's going to come into my inbox in the next couple of minutes, and I'll be able to show you, or not a couple of minutes, couple of seconds, more likely. And let's go and have a look at that. Okay, so at the top, okay, it's coming in saying here, I don't know if you can see that, Hotels TV support, have you considered adding hotel bookings to your next event? Okay, and I'm going to slide this right up. And that is the email. That has just come directly into my inbox. As quickly as you drop that tag, that campaign starts. But we sent a test email to ourselves just to see how it'll look. Make sure our spacing's good. Check your spelling. It's so important, just getting the basic spelling right. If you're going to use capital or uppercase letters, make sure it's consistent. Check your paragraph so it doesn't go out scrappy. You know, it's all about displaying some form of professionalism and also making it very clear and easy to understand. And as you can see, that could probably have a few more spaces in it. But, you know, events, add hotel bookings to your next event free of charge. Great. That's a catchy headline I want to read on. Hi, John or whatever I name, you know, that will actually come in. We saw you had a great event coming up, blah, blah, blah. I'm your local agent. Click this link to book a time or email. So the emails are there. So, you know, if you click that, the email address pops up. That's great. Okay, if I click this link, it's going to take me to the calendar page. So you would set this up how you want. And you've probably all seen this before because my calendar page uses this system and it says, hey, choose a time slot. If you're an agent, you know, obviously we sell business opportunities and help people get started. So they choose that and they can then select what time. So there's no more slots available to today because we're all booked up. But tomorrow, well, let's have a look at Thursday. Thursday, I've got loads of slots available. So you can book the time you want on Thursday. They pop in their name. You know, it's Harrison. My email address is obviously, as we know, my phone number, the meeting type. I'd like to talk on WhatsApp. Interested to find out how to add hotel bookings to my event. Please call, and I know what time I want to call. That is now confirmed. Okay, it's asking me to wait. Appointment scheduled. Great. Your appointment is with Harrison Brown, blah, blah, blah. So you would have an opportunity to personalize this information around you. It's all powered by your CRM. I don't want to schedule another appointment. I'm quite happy with that. I go back here. That was the email that I read it off. Do I get a confirmation of that? I should have some sort of confirmation come through. If I go now back into this, okay, you just got to make sure you save your work all along. And I'll put that back to the contact owner, and I'm going to save that. You'll get used to whatever the characteristics are. So remember, that was campaign email 1. We haven't set up the others yet. Save that campaign. Always save your work. Really important. I'll go through this screen in a moment. So let's look at our calendar now for Thursday. Okay. And as you can see on Thursday, that's dropped straight into my calendar. Let's blow that up. Okay, so this is an example. We can't blow it up anymore. But if you mouse over that, I can see now that someone has just made an appointment from that email, okay, directly in. Okay, it's the business opportunity, or that would say event organizer interested in campaign. And you can see it's got a different status, the time it's been set up. And depending on where you are in the world, that would also link it to the time zone. It would also time it. So if you say it's like in Australia, it's, you know, if it's 9 o'clock at night, I know it's midday in the UK, it would say midday. You would be booking, or the client would be booking midday their time. So if you have any time zones to cross, you can set it up so it times it perfectly. And the note there was interested to find out how to add hotel bookings to my event, has gone into my description. So now I'm sitting here, I've received this. I know exactly what this person wants to talk about. They've scheduled themselves, they've come through my funnel. That becomes a pretty warm lead in my book. They are interested and they've appointed themselves. I haven't had to search for them. I haven't had to pick up the phone and call them. They've come into my funnel. But now I can actually click on that person, all right, because that person has now become an entry into my CRM, or they were already an entry, but now what they've done is come into my CRM, all right, and now you can see that, okay, and we're just still waiting for this to load, okay, a couple of things are going to happen here. It needs to track me a bit more. It was a test message. Okay, I'll show you this. I'll come back to this in a minute, how we can automate this campaign. That's my timeline. okay, for this client. I know it's a bit confusing, but I just entered myself as the client, Harrison Brown. I was the client when I logged in, and I booked the appointment, and now it's come back to me. So now looking at this, I can actually read what tags and what campaigns have gone out, any notes, any previous conversations, any tasks or future. Okay, I want to, obviously I've got an appointment coming up, but after I've spoken to them, I now want to follow this client up on the Friday after I've spoken to them, and I want to call them at 7 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully not. And now that's set up my follow-up meeting with that particular client. So if I now go back, or I go into my tasks page, when I go to my tasks page, I can see here as a follow-up, I've got coming up on the 24th of May, I've got a follow-up coming for this particular person. So I can then click back on that person, and guess what? I go back to their page. So it lets me completely automate and manage my whole campaigning. It tells me which campaigns I've actually opted this person into. So there's been a lot of them. And also deals, if I'm now connected to them and what events we're connected and what we're doing together. So it's a fantastic way of doing it. Now let's go back to our campaigns, because I want to explain very briefly the next step and also tagging. All right, so I'm not going to do every single week's campaign, but you kind of get the message when you go into your campaigns that this is how you flow. So the same thing that I just did through creating that first week's email shot, okay, that we looked at, which was this one, okay, I'm now going to set up, and I can just copy that code. It's a bit of a sneaky way to do it. I can actually copy the HTML code without even pretending to be a web designer. And I know that was the campaign. That was all great. I'm going to close out of that one, because now it's going to wait. I'm going to go into wait. I'm going to actually make this wait 7 days, and I'm going to save that because that was my waiting one in the middle. And then after 7 days, I want to send out this new campaign. And then I'm going to write, did you receive my email? Or I can say, hey, look at what we can do for you. All right, something catchy that makes them want to look at it. You can go back into this, and before I open up this template, I'm actually just going to actually copy the same template format that I just created, that web code. I've just created the whole thing, and now I'm going to open it. All right, and you might have to replay that on this video just to get your head around that. But it's just provided exactly the same email campaign template that I just sent out last week. So now I know it's consistent. So what I can then do is I know it's going out to events. So now I can change this and say, did you know we work with these events? Or, as I said, my second campaign was what we do. Okay. We link a booking system to your website so attendees get better rates. Okay. That's what we want. So we might space that out so it's a little bit nicer to read. You can put it all over to one side. You can center it. You can, do all these things. You can undo errors that you've done. So all these sorts of things. Okay, the name's there, but I want to change the message. I don't want it looking exactly like last week's, but I want to keep it consistent so they start to recognize who we are as well. So but our customers love linking their events to our tailored is probably a better word, tailored booking, hotel booking website, because we get better rates than booking.com. Okay, so something like that. Pretty catchy, pretty strong. What do you think? Okay, and then what we do is we change the image. And you can just screen grab images from all over the website. So let's browse this. And I've got an image that I would use here, and you can just copy one of your PBAs as well to do it. But I've already set a few of these up. So set up one of these. Let's have a look at some of the things we can do. Okay, we might like that one. That's an event. Okay, so we save that. Once again, I just want to take the dimensions out because some images are different. Okay, so watch this. Boom, changed, done. How easy was that? So that is now the new image. Okay, the size isn't bad either. All right, so, and keep there. I'm your local agent. Contact me to discuss this. You can just keep the same campaign going. So now we're going to save that as number 2. Hey, look what we can do for you. We're going to send a message, a test message, just to double check it. Okay, and we're going to even send it to Harrison. So we can even in our test message, we can send it to a person in your contact list. So there you go, Harrison Brown. Send that. All right, then we're going to go back to our inbox, and there it is there. Hey, look what we can do for you. So now it's come in like this. We link a booking system to your website so attendees get better rates. Once again, I could have spaced that out a little bit better, but just we're doing this quite quickly. It's got the new image. What do you think? That's great. Click this link, or you can even link the images to a PBA if you want to show them an example of that. So that's pretty cool. So that means we've now got 2 campaigns that are running. We've got this one that goes out today, add bookings to your next event. And then in 7 days' time, we've got this one. What do you think? And so you can just keep creating these campaigns, which is just such a beautiful way to market. Nice images, catchy, you know they're going to a particular audience as well, which is fantastic. So the last thing I'm just going to show you here is how to tag these things, because tagging is such a wonderful thing. Okay, so let's save this campaign. We like that. Now, what happens here is it's called Event Organizer Campaign Number 1. All right, so you would then save that campaign, and it asks you, do you want to add a trigger? Okay, now what a trigger is, okay, is when a tag is added, or you can even create when contacts are added. So as soon as a contact comes off, I won't get too technical, but let's say you had a Facebook page and you put an ad on Facebook to attract event organizers to you, and you had a little area that they could then put their name and their telephone number and their email address, because you're going to send them information on this. They went, yeah, that's great. As soon as they do that on Facebook, it creates a profile and a new contact immediately inside your CRM, okay? That's how quick you don't even have to type it in. It's already in there. You can choose at that point, do you start the campaign then, okay? Or do you choose to start the campaign later when your tag is added? Or you can even give people a score. You know, if they fill out a quiz and they look really good as candidates, you know, obviously these CRMs apply themselves to all sorts of different integrations and things that you could do across a number of different sectors. I've just shown you a very simple way that I think just works it's not time consuming, and boom, that's automated from now on. It's in your funnel, and you can then go and then start to look at those people. But when you add a tag, this is the one I mostly use, tag added. Okay, what it means is that when you go to a customer, okay, so let's look at me as the example, Harrison Brown in this example. Okay, what's happened here is I can add a tag right here. So I can add that tag. Oh, I put the wrong thing in there. Let me just go back a step. Okay, so I needed just to get the tag, the title of whatever. I can choose the tag, but I use this. So I use the Event Organizer Campaign 1, which is the name. I just keep it as kind of automated, organized as possible. I'll copy that, and then I'll go in and I'll choose my contacts, or I might choose them by the group that I've created. There we go. I'll choose me again. I'm going to add a tag to my campaign, and that's what it is. And if it comes up in black at the bottom, what that does for me, it just shows me that it's a tag that exists within my system. Okay, you can see that here. Hopefully you can see that. It's come up here as a new tag that's added to my campaign. In this list, okay, trying to get control of my screen back. Whoops, not that way. Okay, seems to have frozen for some reason, but let's just try and connect back to this. It's giving me an arrow. I don't want an arrow. I want to bin all that. It still wants to give me an arrow. All right, bear with me 2 seconds. I am getting there. Okay, it's giving me a pencil now. All right, we might have to just exit out of this, but you get the message. So the idea is obviously that we can add a tag in there, and that initiates that particular campaign. Okay, so that's what that is actually designed to do. And if I can get control of this back, then we might have a chance at continuing. I've absolutely lost control of this now. Okay, so let's go back again. All right, so that's better. So we're back again. Okay, so what that means is you can actually see that before, when I went in and I added a tag, Event Organizer Campaign 1, it's done. Now, what happens is this, watch this. So whenever I go onto here, if that sent me that email, Okay, it sent me an email there. That's great. I've got that campaign. Have I got this one? It was the first one that went out. So what should happen is as soon as I click this link, it should actually record that in this section here. So you'll actually see that someone's actually clicked on the link when you go to check in their database. All right. So enough of that. And also you can group things together and group people together, contact lists together. Obviously, I can't show you for data protection reasons. I can't go in and show you these things, but it's a great way to do it. So you create your campaign around that. You then group the people together that you actually want to group together that want to receive this campaign, and you automate it. And by doing that and setting it up, you simply automate that and can then follow up by looking at your tasks. You get to then follow up on each person that you've sent the campaign to, or you can simply check by looking in your calendar and seeing what appointments. You can even automate it so that you get an email notification when you do have an appointment set up in that calendar. So that makes it very, very easy to work with. And then you can account for your stats and monitor that and work out how well these things are doing. And then, of course, you can go back to looking at your statistics, which is also a great way to measure the success of that campaign. Okay, so hopefully we have got the presentation coming back to you, and you can see that funnel again. So hopefully, look, it's a bit of a long-winded way of doing it on a webinar, but I hope you've really got something out of that just to see how technology can make your life so much easier. But using a CRM is sometimes a bit daunting, or you might think it's daunting, but they're actually made very, very easy to use. And a lot of these now are very much drag and drop, and you can go onto YouTube and you can watch a million different videos of how to do each section. So look, it might take you half an hour, 2 hours to get your head around certain aspects, but once you know, your marketing becomes so much better and so much more automated. And what we just did was kind of show you a way where you can create leads, and you can even import those leads from your Excel spreadsheet very easily into a CRM like Agile, and they just become leads. And then you add a tag to them, okay, and that automates your campaign. So now you're automatically working those leads into prospects. Okay, now they've become prospects because you're working them. All right, then it's a combination of these emails going out on a relatively automated basis, updating people with some interesting information. In the future weeks, we'll go through how you give good content, and content that converts organizers into customers. But then pick up the phone is my other advice, because that's just such the best way to see how you're going. Did you get the campaign? What did you think of it? Does it interest you? Do you understand what we do? Can I explain? And can we get you started? And here's a contract. It's free of charge. Let's get the hotels that I've got that want to give you rates connected to your event website. And that's as simplistic as the conversation could actually be. And then you can go into the process of, then converting those attendees into customers. And you do the same with your hotels. Put the hotels go in as a lead, send them some interesting information about what you're doing, and entice them by using captions like, did you know your hotel could be connected to these events exclusively when you work with Hotels TV? How do you do that? You give us the best rates and the best added value and look after our clients. And then all of a sudden they become a prospect. And then they turn into customers, or they help convert your customers into money because they're providing you the good rates and the added value, which then you can go and market to the event organizers, which you would have seen in our previous episodes as well. So that is pretty much it from just starting to think about automating your marketing, planning, setting out the funnel. And I'll just go back to a quick screen. Once again, collate your customers and your contacts. So first step, enter your contact details into your CRM, plan your campaign. What do you want to say? How long do you want the campaign to run? The campaigns I use sometimes are called long-term nurture, or LTN campaign, I'll call it, because I want to nurture these people for a long period of time and give them an opportunity to convert. Because sometimes the event organizers are not quite ready to start with you. So if you're emailing these campaigns on a regular basis, by the time they are ready, there's no one else doing this. There is no one else hitting them up with, hey, I've got an easier way for you to book hotels. So, you're going to hit their inbox, provide them some really interesting information and ways for them to make money and ways for them to support their attendees and guests more effectively so that they renew next year or come back to their event next year. And you're going to give examples of how you're helping people. And that's so powerful in marketing. You execute by dropping that tag in and automating those campaigns. How am I doing? Look at the analytics, adjust that. Am I getting what I want out of the campaign? Are they opening it? Is it going to junk mail? What are the clues and the signs telling me? And then I'm going to pick up the phone and go, hey, I'd love to work with you. How can we do this? You've received the campaigns. You know I exist. I've built credibility. I'm a respected kind of potential client to work with you. Let's get going. And that's it. And this is all such a lovely experience. Once you actually start using it, it's such an easy way to start to warm the customers for yourself. And you've got those customers again by simply going to Google and getting the details, or buying an email list or of event organizers. It's a very cold way to do it. I prefer you targeting the events yourself under your category, but there's all sorts of different ways to start to load everything into that funnel, a bit like a blender, load everything in, and then reduce it as time goes on. So Q&A's on now. I know I've covered a lot, so if you've got any questions, just pop it into the chat and we can go over it over the next couple of minutes. If not, that's fantastic. No problems. We can deal with that on a one-to-one basis. Once again, don't forget to book your one-to-one sessions in each week by going to the calendar link, and that's what I'm subscribing that you do for your own email campaigns. Maybe people connect and do that. If they do, you've got such a hot lead. If they enter themselves into that calendar of yours, that's awesome. If they don't, you can still pick up the phone and call them. Your product is still as relative or relevant to those organizers and still useful. Sometimes they need a prod, sometimes they'll just enter themselves in. So it's a lovely, warm way to build that funnel. So if you've got any questions, enter them now, please. Otherwise, look, the takeaways from this week, I think, are that you've got to have a strategy. Every marketing needs a strategy. You've got to know, obviously, who you want to target. You want to start to, hit that niche, start to focus on those events, plan that out, what you want to achieve, analyze the results, adjust your campaigns. These sorts of things make it very, very easy to adjust campaigns. Send another campaign, try different things. You might have heard the expression split test or A and B test. All that means is have two funnels. So the one funnel I just set up now, and then create a second funnel that does something a bit different. Send the two funnels out to two different audiences and see which ones you get the better results. Use the one that gives you the better results. It's pretty simple, right? Keep what works, change what doesn't. Use technology wherever you can, because it just means that you can get on with your life and do other things. And you can sit on a yacht and do this. You can go and do another job and let this run in the background for you. You can go and do anything you want and build this business and build this automated business. Nothing's completely automated, but once you get your head around it and you start to create these campaigns and this automation, let it flow and let it build. It snowballs, but you're snowballing a business that is built on automation, that is not built on the hours that you have to invest into it. There's a difference between working hard and working smart. I want you to work smart. Target events that happen every year. So once you've worked smart and you've set this funnel up, you also know that you've just built a client for the next 5 years. How smart's that? All right, increase your efficiency, save you time. It's just good business. So I hope you've really got something out of this. There's so much we can develop on, and we will do in future webinars. And we will listen to you and any feedback you give us and any webinars that you want us to create. We're very happy to build that around things that you need to find out and challenges you're coming up against. But I hope this gives you a really, really good sense of the steps that you need to find a client, find the hotels, and create that booking system, to create a very simple marketing system that's leveraged off an audience that already exists, that you don't have to pay for or really do a lot of work for, but also how you can manage your bookings and then make more bookings by developing your business in just smart ways. So thank you for joining us. We'll be back for the next episode as usual, and bye for now.